Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Ignition Time. Now, a lot of our viewers and subscribers come to our channel for news on unemployment, for news on jobs, and news on the economy. But I want you to know that there was a new report from Bloomberg, and we'll show you this headline from Bloomberg on your screen. Even in a labor shortage, you can't just go get a job. Now, I know a lot of our viewers and subscribers have talked about the challenges of actually finding a job out there. And I completely get it because this is not a simple situation. This isn't a situation where you can just raise your hand and say, give me a job. And you go out there and get a job that pays you well. The fact is that more and more employers are now becoming more and more demanding with the employees that they bring on board because they're paying top dollar and therefore they're trying to get the cream of the crop, which actually leaves a lot of individuals out in the cold. And that is what this article is about. Welcome to our channel, everyone. As always, you'll get a link to all of our resources in the description section below. So make sure you check out the description section. Also, please click like, please subscribe, and please enable notifications. So when you're trying to find a job that suits your skills and that allows you to grow in your career, the fact is it's a lot harder than it seems. Just because there's a sign we're hiring, that does not mean that you're going to be able to get that job. In fact, like I said, a lot of employers are extremely picky, extremely choosy when it comes to hiring. In fact, there were close to 20 million active online job postings in the month of August, and that's a substantial increase from the 10 million job postings at the start of the year. In fact, the US employment actually increased by 531,000 new jobs in the month of October. Now, the fact is, a lot of employers are grumbling about the labor shortage. I have done other videos on our channel talking about the great resignation and the fact that a lot of individuals are essentially being patient with getting back into the workforce, potentially even retiring early. The real underlying problem is it's not easy for everyone to essentially get a good job. Now, a lot of politicians, in fact, are saying that, hey, people are refusing to go back to work because of the federal unemployment benefits, and that's encouraging individuals to stay at home. Now, keep in mind that the federal unemployment benefits were initially enhanced by $600 a week last year, and then they were enhanced by $300 a week from January 2021 to September 2021, although 26 states did actually end the federal unemployment benefits early, as you know, and I have covered that on our channel. The fact is, this did not discourage individuals from working. So it's not the unemployment benefits that kept people or prevented people from taking new jobs, but it's actually a combination of safety reasons. It's a combination of reasons where individuals had to be caretakers for other people in their family. But the big factor, the factor that no one has ever covered before, is that quite simply people are having a hard time actually landing the right jobs. Bloomberg actually featured the case of a Jackie Brooks, who's a marketing technology coordinator based in West Virginia, and she was receiving unemployment benefits after losing her job in November 2020. Brooks said she applied for more than 450 jobs. Think about that for a second. 450 jobs, including entry-level positions, and she was rejected at times for not having enough experience. In fact, she was interviewed for this Bloomberg article, and she said this: the problem with taking any job for the sake of working is if I keep accepting positions that aren't offering me relevant experience, I'm not helping myself gain more experience for the type of jobs I do want. That is not productive. In fact, both employers and employees are actually carefully considering new job offers. Employers want the best employees, and employees want quality jobs with benefits, with competitive pay and flexibility, and they feel that they can pick and choose in a tight labor market. But again, employers are being too picky in trying to select the right candidates. It's expensive to hire someone. It takes a lot of time, effort, and energy to train someone, and it's expensive and, quite frankly, a pain in the behind to actually replace someone. Employers need employees, but employers do not want high turnover. Now, in addition to this, the rise of online jobs actually makes it easy for employees and employers to find each other. So that is essentially a good thing. But the problem is there are just so many options for both the employer and the employees, in a sense, and this was mentioned in the Bloomberg article, it actually becomes like dating, where you have many options. And what's also a little frustrating for employees is that a lot of companies are using algorithms to weed out applications, and they're actually overlooking good candidates. In other words, they may have an algorithm that says that if a person has not worked for the past 6 months or a year, then don't even consider them. And that absolutely can become a problem. Just because you have not worked for the past 6 months to a year, that doesn't mean that you're not a good candidate. You could have had some reason, some personal reason why you did not work or could not work for the past 6 months or 1 year. Now, keep in mind that even though this is a job seekers market right now, there is a lot of steps that potential employees have to go through, and sometimes people submit unfinished applications and don't show up for the initial screening calls. So keep in mind that even though this is a tight labor market, I want our viewers and subscribers to know that it is incumbent on us to actually be prepared, to submit the applications, to follow up, to show up for those initial calls, because many companies do actually take time, 2 months or 3 months, to hire a candidate, and sometimes they interview at least 5 people for a single position. So companies are also going through a lot of steps and doing their due diligence. So also, another thing you can do is try and spread the word amongst your friends and family that you're looking for a new job, and hopefully you can be invited to interviews and eventually get your dream job. This is an ongoing process, everyone, because at the end of the day, if your goal is to improve your skills and to pivot to a new job, a career transition, even in a labor shortage, or getting a new job, even in a labor shortage, is not easy. In fact, a career transition is one of the hardest things you can ever do. And folks, there's a lot of work involved. You essentially have to rebrand yourself, and you have to essentially make sure that you convince your employer that you're valuable. Now, if you want to start your own business and do your own thing, that's fine. But in a sense, we have to market ourselves to new employers. We have to make sure that employers look at us and say, wow, I want that person in my organization. That does not change even in a tight labor market. And you can see that even individuals who applied for hundreds of jobs are struggling to find the right position. So at the end of the day, this comes down to consistently applying and also making sure you market yourself properly. So there are jobs out there, but keep in mind that we still have to do the work, and finding the right fit is not always easy, especially in this astonishingly different post-pandemic economy. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Please click like, please click subscribe, please enable notifications. I appreciate you. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode of Ignition Time. Take care. Bye.